Okay, so Vera, I got to your document back with your blood pressure. Okay. So just to go through your timeline, one of the things I was noticing with your blood pressure journal is here, like in 323, you're still extremely high, and you highlighted the ones that are really high. And then as we got into May, now you're like back to close to a normal range. And April, I'm sorry, April, and then here you had a flare up, and then um, we go back to here 422, 23. I saw recent ones. You just sent me to me email, but they were close to normal range. So what was I know it's in here, but instead of helping me look for it, when was the date you started the beta blocker?
Oops. I think it was a little bit before I started doing this retesting, this May collecting
In
data.
May?
Mhm.
Right around May. Okay. So it's working. Like if you look at your blood pressure readings after the beta blocker, it's definitely bringing it back to closer to normal. Do you notice a difference in any symptom, or do you have any new symptoms or any difference in symptoms being on the beta blocker?
Well, it's kind of hard with me to understand the
Sure.
relationships. I didn't have any signature attacks
Right.
during the period.
Okay.
Um, I should say that I am feeling better lately.
Okay. And when I was looking at your journal of blood pressure, and we start to look at the more recent ones, like from the end of like the end part of April to May when they're closer to normal. That's is that the period you're noticing a difference in how you feel?
No, not right away. It's about the last couple weeks, I would say, that I started noticing that I have more energy.
Okay.
I'm a little stronger, and I even sleep a little better. I mean, I'm still up at 5, but I didn't have any problem getting asleep during this period.
Okay, fantastic. Do you have you noticed have you well actually let me ask you a question. Is there anything else you've done that's different besides the beta blocker?
Well, this is that peptide thing. So, Dr. Parpia wanted me to get on that peptide, and she wanted me to start with one that I kind of failed completely, but it was on Lexanox, and she told me to stop that and to get on KPV. And KPV is a peptide from melanocyte stimulating hormone,
Okay.
which is very, very low for me. When I did the mold testing, this chronic inflammatory response syndrome testing with Dr. Andrew Heyman,
Hmm.
I did very deeply into that diagnosis. I mean, I met all the criteria. Melanocyte stimulating hormone is one of those tests. So it's also, and this is what I want to talk to you a lot about today, this mucus, this sinusitis, I think, or whatever it is. But melanocyte stimulating hormone, I read, kind of helps deal with some microbes. Like they say, well, I read, let's say, that if you have enough of that hormone, you do not get MARCoNS, this multiple antibiotic resistance, what else? Um,
Yeah,
but
that's all the shoemaker game stuff. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I feel that perfectly.
Okay.
Along with negative reaction to the treatment, all right.
Okay.
So this KPV makes me, when I take it, and I'm not even taking, I'm supposed to take zero point 0.1, and I am starting with zero point 0.01, and I react even to that.
Okay.
But then
So
I stop it, And this is when I start feeling better.
What was the name of the peptide? I'm not clearly understanding you.
KPV. KPV. It's these three letters. And I have this Dr. Hortov's article here with me, and he kind of like deciphers what it is, but I don't remember, and I don't think I should look. So this is the only other variable that I can think of. Maybe it is helping me in some way, but it is making me feel better when I'm doing it.
Okay. So, the thing is like when someone is as chronic as you, the minute something is making a difference for you, like we have to find the mechanism and dig deeper that way. Okay. So the problem with a lot of the peptides are they're just all done on animal research. There's only a couple that they really have good human research on. So it's like it's hard to jump on board for me. But if the most important thing is you have an effort where you have an outcome, and then we have to dig deeper into it. So you're taking the BKV peptide.
Yeah, I'm trying. It's like I take 0.01, then I get worse. I stop for several days, then I get better, then I get at it again, but don't know.
Okay, so the two things that have been done since we talked, and you've noticed some improvements the past few weeks, is the blood pressure has gone back down to normal range, and you're taking this peptide. What role do you think? How do you feel each is playing a role in that? What's your gut feeling?
I kind of I have a hard time saying that.
Okay, let's dig into it, and you might not be able to, and that's okay. Okay, so, but you feel comfortable. Okay. I did find, I was trying to find where your blood pressure readings were, but they're actually down here. So now May 11th, you're 122 over 70 and 120 over 73. Now during this May event, let's say we look at your blood pressure from May 10th till now, and this is kind of like in the long lane of where the beta blocker may start to have its effect on you that you started taking it. You can see the things kind of improved dramatically.
It's also that I didn't have any appointments, just that one dental, and this is when my blood pressure went up. Not much, but
this one, you mean after your dental appointment?
Yeah.
Yeah. So one thing's really very clear: your blood pressure is directly related to emotional factors, like significantly. Like you're extremely sensitive that way. Okay. And since your blood pressure has been low in May, have there been any noticeable signature attacks that you complain of?
This is what I was saying. No, I didn't have any, and I usually have a signature attack after a chiropractic adjustment when my neck needs to be adjusted, and I didn't have last time.
Okay. Yeah, so sometimes just the shock of getting adjusted can raise your blood pressure. It's like us, if you feel like your neck's breaking or something like that, or just a shock. And okay, so I really feel you're on the right track. I really feel that getting your blood pressure down was critical for you to stop having microvascular potential insults. I know you went to visit the neurologist. The neurologist wasn't really clear. Like maybe you have it, maybe you don't. Maybe white matter lesions, or that's the impression I got reading your update. Is that accurate, or how was it with the neurologist?
Yeah. It's like I was trying to clearly understand, and she said, "Do you want a second opinion?" And I didn't feel like second opinion. I mean, yeah. I think. Oops.
Sure. And that's the thing. It's not going to be very clear because you don't have severe symptoms, and just the concept of microvascular disease and even silent strokes, since they don't have any clear symptoms, it's hard to say. And the only finding that's consistent is the MRI. You've had multiple MRIs confirming the same thing. And the main cause of that is hypertension. Now that your blood pressure is low, the most important thing is you're noticing you're not getting those reactions like you were. And that's kind of the key thing here. So that's like step one. Okay. So the step one was what's causing your symptoms. The symptoms were, I think, let me explain the big picture of what we're trying to work through, okay, with your case. This was the report I completed on you when we were done, okay? And it was basically your chief complaint, but my impression was you had some microvascular disease and related to hypertension being one of the main triggers. And then the goal was to like, let's get your blood pressure down. Let's figure out what's going on with that. That's really the next step. And now that your blood pressure is down, we still have other things to worry about because you did have like some neurological autoantibodies. You had like a recurring virus. You had some recent.
One of my questions that I wanted to ask.
Yeah. So we have to go there, and we still have to still want to improve your vascular health. We still want to dampen neuroinflammatory responses. So we still have a lot of work to do, but it's impossible to kind of get gains if the injury keeps happening and keeps happening and keeps happening, right? So now it's like now we're kind of getting in a place where we can work. And I remember last night, I don't know what else to do until you get your blood pressure down. And then now that your blood pressure's down and you can notice some symptoms there. So that's a good sign. Okay. So the other key thing to point out is you're extremely sensitive to emotional triggers. And that being said, are you off the news? Are you still focused on the news? I know you have lots of
except that things are getting kind of okay. There is hope that the war will not be in my part of Ukraine with the things that are going on there. So I hope my family will be spared the biggest misery.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel better.
Okay. So it's going to be essential for your recovery and for your health to limit your psychological stressors. And for you, the news is a big one. Obviously, dentist appointment stressful for anyone, but but anything you notice is impacting your stress or more specifically increasing your blood pressure, you really want to decrease that because the blood pressure can only do so much. Just like even you're on your dental appointment, it was still a factor. Okay. Now also, I have your labs here in your questionnaire form. Okay, this is your brain region localization form. Your symptoms over here don't look very bad at all. They look. My
cognitive capacity improved as well.
Yeah, it looks much better. Like a lot of your symptoms have improved. And then we'll look at your metabolic assessment form. I know the insomnia is still the main thing for you, right?
Yeah. It is better though. Like I say, I didn't get to stay up through the night, or there was no case when I couldn't get to sleep. But I'm still up at about 5 o'clock, so I get about 6 hours. Remember, we were talking. I was getting about 5 average hours. Yeah. Now it is more like 6.
Okay, that's good. That's good. So that's major difference. An extra hour of sleep, that's like it's like over 20% increase in sleep. That's pretty good. And pain, and pain is just where, like in your abdomen or throughout your body, or where?
I want to talk about it. 2 things I want to talk about today. I mean, to talk in details. It's that sinusitis, mucus, whatever thing, and the pain. I want to understand what in there. And I have a lot of pain.
Just throughout your whole body?
Yeah, so I wanted to describe these pains. I have maybe 3-4 layers of pain.
Okay.
First one being fibromyalgia type pain. This means if you touch me, if you press me anywhere in my body, it aches me. The difference is what part of the body you press, right? There are spots when it aches more, and there are spots where it aches less. I mean, you need to put more pressure for me to feel pain.
Okay.
And I do not know. I have different opinions from UW Pain Center. One group of doctors told me I don't have any fibromyalgia and sent me to psychiatrist. I talked about that. And the other group, I talked about this in my initial case. The other said, yes, you do have fibromyalgia. So, but this is the kind of pain that I experience. So this is one layer. The second layer is I have pain. There's not a second that I do not have pain in my body. Usually it is just a couple places, but it is this jumping pain that they talk about Lyme disease, that you have this pain going from one place to another throughout your body. But this is this kind of background pain that I have constantly. Like right now, I have pain over here in my face and upper back. But in a minute, it is in a different spot, and I have that pain constantly. Not a second is there that I do not have any kind of pain. The third layer of pain is like pain has some favorite spots. Like you're talking in this course that I watched, you did this weekend. So kind of like kind of resembles recurrent infection, right? So, okay, this part over here is injured, right? There could be some bacteria or whatever microorganisms there, and I'll talk a little bit about that as well when I talk about this dental treatment. So it comes and goes at random, right? I have a lot of symptoms and pains over here in this area of my head. So it comes and goes, and when it comes, it stays for a while. Or like I complained, I have this pain in my knee, below my knee. And I do not know, I kind of think maybe because, well, knee pain again could be related to Lyme, but it could be related to my injury, right? It was broken there, it was severe injury, and maybe it is catching up with me. I do not know. But when this layer of pain comes, it tends to stay for a while, then it goes away. Okay, so these three layers, let's talk.
Okay, let's stick with pain for a second and just go through this, and then because we have a lot of things to do as layers. Okay, let's talk pain. So I don't think you have Lyme disease or things causing your symptoms, just from your workup and everything. Now, do you remember when we did the exam with you and I had you try to perceive temperature sensation with hot and cold, and I took the pinwheel and did pinprick sensation throughout your face and arms, and you had what we call a sensory discrimination disorder. You had difficulty perceiving where things were and how they felt and everything like that. And these sensory disassociation disorders can lead to chronic pain pattern perception. It's not necessarily that the pain is there. It's like your parietal lobe area of your brain that processes pain.
So this is pain centralization.
I think right now the working diagnosis for me, and it could be more than one variable, but one of the major variables is you have some sensory discrimination patterns, and those are central based. So like with pain, I know you've taken a lot of the Crosby Institute courses. We did one on pain. I don't know if you remember, but there's like allodynia, or like you touch someone and it doesn't. Like, you didn't have allodynia, because you had allodynia. If I put the pinwheel on you, you would have pushed it away and cover your face and like, don't do that ever again. That's terrible. That's like, you're cutting me. You didn't have that. And you didn't really have hyperalgesia, where we would put it on and you kept feeling and feeling. You just had this discrimination, this difficulties that were there. So when you see a sensory discrimination pattern throughout all the different sensory dermatomes throughout the body, that's not like a peripheral nerve. That's basically dysfunction of the somatosensory cortex, the parietal cortex. Okay, so your pain is ultimately perceived in the brain. So if those areas of the brain are misfiring, you can have some of these patterns. And I say that too because I don't think like a very aggressive anti-inflammatory approach might touch your pain at all. I think as your brain gets healthier, now maybe working on neuroinflammation strategies, which we have to get into, can make a difference for some of that, but it's probably not at the receptor. It's probably central based, meaning the brain. So with a chronic pain pattern like yours, they're almost always central like that. When it's like throughout the whole body, it's everywhere. Like you talk to someone that it doesn't make sense. It's not related to a nerve distribution. It's not related to an injury. It's just related. It doesn't make sense. And it changes intensity all the time. And it switches from one spot to the other at different times. Maybe it's worse at certain spots, but those are most likely sensory disorders. So I would say I wouldn't waste a lot of time trying to do I think the focus is still to get your vascular health and your brain health and neuroinflammation down and kind of see what happens with that. Okay. Now, let me ask you another question. Is there anything you've ever done that makes a difference for your pain? Are there times where it's less? For example, if your brain is really active doing certain things and conscious of things, is your pain less?
Yes.
Okay.
The only time that I do not notice the pain when I go out and garden.
Right.
Okay. So it's like I'm in the flow. This is maybe this is the third variable, right? Because now it is spring and I'm planting, and this is what I love.
Right.
Okay, so I am out there, and this is when I feel my best. I don't feel the pain.
Right.
The moment I come in the house, here it goes again.
It's central based. Because if you actually had nerve injury in your peripheral nerves or something like that, or your sepsites were firing, it wouldn't care if you're gardening. It wouldn't care if your brain activity is firing at a higher rate, you know? So that's one of the phenomena of sensory discrimination pain related patterns, is that as you activate and do certain things that stimulate parts of your brain, the pain goes away. Okay. So I think where your pain, we just have to keep focusing on the health of your brain and really dive into that more. Everything up until now has been trying to get the assault to your vascular system, being the high blood pressure, down. Okay. But so just to think about, like, you're concerned about, hey, the pain, we're not ignoring the pain. I think your pain is central based. So as we work on your health and your system and your physiology that way, that's where we want to go into. So let me pull up this share screen again. So okay, so here we are. So persistent symptoms, receive photomodulation, dental problem. Okay. So what are your concerns? Excessive mucus sinusitis and then pain. You said pulsed electromagnetic frequency for pain.
Yeah, would it help me?
Doesn't help you?
Will not.
No, I don't know. Have you tried it?
No, but I just I got a book by Dr. Pavlyuk. I think his is Ukrainian last name. So I'm reading that book, and I wonder, because he's talking about fibromyalgia and this kind of type of thing.
So PEMF has a potential to impact central based pain.
Great.
But it's totally unpredictable, and we don't know what the variables are. Like, I've had patients with central based pain that had some effect on them, and others that spent a lot of money on a unit and didn't have any effects. The best thing is if you can go, I don't know if you're going to purchase one or just going to go to places where they have treatments. It's not, but it's definitely worth a consideration, because the pulse frequency does activate neuron stimulation, just like it may have a similar effect as if you're, gardening. But when you come off it, it's going to come back in a very short period of time.
Yeah, what I'm going to do, because the way Dr. Pavlyuk is working, you can make an appointment with them and talk to them about what you're dealing with, and they then advise. And I like that approach. So this is what I'm going to do.
Okay. Now I would say ultimately, you still have to focus on the health of your brain and your sensory patterns and all those things. But if it can increase your brain activity to the point it's reducing pain, that will only speed up the process.
Right.
Okay. Now, excessive mucus and sinusitis.
Okay. So let me talk about this, and I'm going to talk a lot.
Okay.
There's a lot going on.
Okay.
So about, I would say 5 years ago, I started having this. I do not know for how long I had postnasal drip, because that was minor, didn't bother me, obviously, anything. But then about 5 years ago, I started having this kind of like mucus pulling sessions, right? So I feel like there is this stuff kind of staying there. It bothers me. And then I do not know how it happened, but I started pulling it. So, and it comes and it comes and it comes, tons of it. I could spend an hour or two pulling it out. 100 grams, 200 grams of mucus. I couldn't figure out where it comes from. Okay, because when they did the dental 3D, they told me, no, your sinuses are clear. Okay, but then we did this MRI, before your appointment. And remember, there is a sentence there. There is mucus thickening in, how do you call this sinus, somewhere here, ethmoid or whatever sinus is there, somewhere higher where the dental didn't reach. Okay, so we have mucus thickening on the MRI test, and I have this postnasal drip constant, and then I have this mucus pooling sessions, a lot of it, and it is very bothersome, and there's a lot of it. Okay, then when I do my enemas, right, it used to be that kind of like halfway through, I'm getting this mucus coming. Now it is once I'm already in the shower that I have a lot of it coming out, and I keep pulling it, and then I do how do you call it, saline solution nose.
Saline solution, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you do irrigation, or do you just do?
No, just kind of like with that bottle.
Yeah, does it help?
No, I mean, it's not getting any less, but there's more mucus coming with that. So it's like I have about 2 hours pulling mucus with enema, shower, and this rinse. It's like a long process. Now, when I'm starting to get this mucus with these sessions, it comes from the nasal cavity, but it also comes from my chest. Okay. So it comes from both ways, right? Nasal cavity, chest, and I do not know whether this is trachea or it is esophagus. I do not understand. Then when I'm doing enema, there's a lot of mucus coming with that too. Okay, and then when I'm done with enema, I kind of feel like in half an hour after this shower and everything, I feel kind of like I go to the toilet and then kind of blobs of mucus, almost no feces in there, just kind of like opaque looking mucus comes out. Not much of it, maybe a tablespoon, maybe half a tablespoon. So it's like all along my starting from my nose, going all the way, there's a lot of mucus. Do you understand it, right?
Yeah.
So what could that all mean? And what do we do about it?
Okay. Well, more than likely, it means you're probably having some airborne allergens triggering your mucosal immune response. Okay. And I know we checked, I was looking at your labs, and I know we checked for mold reactivity because we suspected you may have some reactions to mold. You didn't have any. We did those IgG and IgE. There could be other airborne allergens you reacted to. I think we did check a local airborne allergen panel too, right? We didn't find anything.
We did. I do not react. But there's also this case that when we checked for IgE, it was like 10, I think, if I remember properly. It was like all my IgM, no, I do not know about IgM, IgG, IgE, IgA are very, very low.
Yeah. Let me double check that with you here. Okay. All right. Are there any environments you notice it gets worse in, like inside your house or outside your house? No?
No, except that I do have this kind of like runny nose when it is wet outside and I am hiking in the forest.
Okay.
Which doesn't make much sense with IgE and no mold, maybe some fall. But no, it is in the fall too.
Okay. Let me just double check really quickly. Okay. Your total immunoglobulin count you said was low, huh? You remember that? Okay. So one of the things, like first right off the bat, you really should use a sinus irrigation unit where that actually pushes water into your sinuses and cleans it, and then it drains out. And
I'm not familiar with that.
okay, so I'll show you. Let me find it, and I'll share the screen. You get it off Amazon because the allergens stick to your mucosa and they keep activating mucus. And what the saline integration does is it pushes all the allergens out. So it can give you.
If it is, I know that with allergies, it is runny nose, but I never have runny nose, but for that hiking thing,
Yeah.
oh.
So do you see this navage? Okay. So basically what this is you buy this unit, it's like $100, and then you also buy some saline packs. And then you put the saline pack in there and crush it, and then you add some water, and then you have a saline water on the top. You stick this in your nose like that. You push the button, and it pushes water all the way up, and then drains off the other side. And then the drained mucinasal secretions and allergens all end up at the bottom, and you just dump it out. So it's just so when people that have allergens stuck to the nasal mucosa keep activating their sinuses as a form to stop that constant immune activation is just to get those allergens off the mucosa. So this is not saying this is the cause. We know what the cause is, but right away, just to reduce the immune activation, constant allergen, you probably want to do some sinus integration. Did you write this down? This navage.
Navage, I will remember. Yeah.
You can probably find this at any drugstore, and you can also order it just directly off Amazon. So, and then you probably want to order a pack of saline. It comes with 20 salted pods. You probably want.
Yeah, because so. I'm doing with the bottle.
Yeah, and then sometimes when people have like these constant allergen reactions and the mucus responses are going crazy, they'll do it sometimes 2-3 times a day just to get that. Okay. Now, the cause of it is trying to figure out what the trigger is, and the trigger is like we've already checked your airborne allergens.
We did not find any. At some point, I did go to my kids' allergist.
Yeah.
And she did the testing for me. I'm not reacting to anything.
Okay. The other possibility is you could have mucosal immune activation in other areas of your body that are really triggering it. Because once, like, for example, if your gut mucosa gets activated, that'll fire up your mucosa all the way through. If the lung mucosa gets activated, the entire mucosa gets inflamed. That's not as likely, but it's something we can't discount. What I'm going to say is let's just hold off, other than getting your allergen out of your nasal passages so you can function better, not have as much mucus, and also reduce your inflammation, because that's going to trigger your inflammatory response also, because it's a allergen activated response. Let's try to just get you symptom relief right now. And the stuff that we want to do with your blood vessels and brain health may have an impact on your immune function too. So I don't want to go too deep in that hole of all that stuff. The whole macaroons thing with like the special lab in the country that can only find it and no other lab in the world can do it. It's really hard to swallow for me, like, where you have to go and get that. So I have a hard time with that.
We wanted to dig a little bit deeper.
By the way, I've seen those labs come in for the past 10 years. To this date have never seen a negative one. I've never seen anyone not have it from my other patients' files. And it's only one lab in the world that does it. And then you're going to go with what, antibiotics? It's a little harder to swallow for me. Now, if I would, and I don't think you have like staph resistance causing all your symptoms and those things.
Except that when I did the treatment for it, I reacted very badly. Yeah. Like I do all the time with killing any microbes medication.
Yeah.
But let me tell you about my recent experience with this dental treatment. So I go to the dentist and I'm telling him, so I want these implants here and it aches me here. And he says, and it happened at that time that because what's happening with these gums where the teeth were pulled out, these two front teeth. That area is painful, right? Comes and goes. And then I have a little bit like swelling that is noticeable to the eye, but I can feel it with my tongue. And then it's like inside, on this side, it gets hot, and I feel like there is something going on, except it happened to be with my regular dentist. I showed him, told him, and he said, no, I don't see anything. Well, this new holistic dentist I found here, by the way, recently, very close from me. And when I was seeing him, I also had this happening. And he looked and he told me, oh, it is a viral lesion. And I can do ozone treatment. I say, no, I already was in the emergency room with ozone treatment. Let's not do that. What else do you have? He says, I have this photobiomodulation thing. Did you react to that? I say, no, I never tried it. And we decided, okay, we'll try it like quarter of the strength of the usual dose he does. I didn't have any reaction to that. Good. He increased to like half. And what happened then? Symptom aggravation. It was, I had this burning over here in this area of the treatment. And ever since then, I have this kind of like patch of skin, and I do not know whether you call it dermatitis or rash or whatever. And there's nothing, it has been about 3 weeks, 4 maybe. It's not going away. It is itchy at times. It is burning at times. And it stays here. So he told me to do this clay treatment, kind of put a clay mask. He said, oh, it is a detoxification reaction. When I went back and told him, he said, okay, it is a detoxification reaction. And you need to be taking charcoal, some binder, and do a face, kind of like mask with clay. I didn't do any of that because like I have to see you, I have to be in good shape, right? I have to be able to comprehend and everything. So I did not rock the boat, but I'm going to try it. But if we're talking by photobiomodulation caused detoxification, what was detoxifying there? Do you understand all that?
Yeah, I don't know what it's doing.
You don't agree with him?
I don't agree or disagree. I don't know what he's doing. Okay. I have no idea.
Because I kind of think maybe there is some kind of viral involvement, because he said viral lesion.
Yeah, but that's literally made up. It's like, oh, that's viral. It's not like you test it. It's just like an opinion. Let me tell you something. If you do ozone, you have viral infections everywhere.
I didn't understand that.
I'm just saying it's just, how did you really know it's viral?
This is what he said.
I'm saying. It's like me. Oh,
he has some experience, some kind of.
I don't know. It's hard. I don't know. Here's the thing. You definitely need to do trial and error of various things to see what works for you and things that can give you relief. My role in your health care is I really think you have microvascular disease, I have your neuroinflammation. I think we have to kind of keep working down that. And that's going to be what's going to make the biggest difference in your health in the future and moving forward. Like, I mean, that's not my field. That's not my area of study. Yeah. And I like that, honestly, like that shit I don't care about right now. Like, your blood vessels are injured. You've got sensory discrimination disorders and chronic pain. Like, let's figure this out. Let's kind of move that way. But whatever you need to do.
Except that this mucus thing is so annoying. It's taking me so much time. It's so hard on me. I mean, my life would be so much easier if I figured that out.
And here's the thing: like, ozone therapy could be very effective for people, but I know you're so fragile with various things, and even like taking charcoal binders. I mean, for you,
yes, I was able to take charcoal.
Okay.
It's the only one that I could.
I mean, you're gonna always have to kind of push yourself and see what you can handle, but
What do you think about sinusitis? Could that be sinusitis?
It's hard to say. I mean, is it possible you have chronic viral sinusitis? It's possible. You do have labs that show a little bit elevation of your natural killer cells.
Yeah, and I wanted to talk about, I was kind of disappointed that you showed my immune system was in imbalance. I mean,
your immune system is pretty good. Like, don't like your, by the way, your lymphocytes in the past have been 50, in the 50 range. Like the one you initially did a while ago, the range was 50. They just use a slider range here than 20. Like if you look at the LabCorp results, 50% still within normal limits. With this panel, it's 20 to 40%. So it doesn't look like your white blood cells have changed in the past year. They're kind of the same. It's just this is a more sensitive pattern. And, you're 0.8% up, not even additional 1% of your percent natural killer cells. And this helper ratio only 0.3 levels out of range. Like this may look bad if you just look at reds, but if you actually look at the numbers, I'm sorry, I'm not sharing my screen with you.
Yeah, I actually have it in front of me.
Okay. So if you look at your lymphocyte panel, like you go, do you have a chronic infection? There's something happening. So if you look at your percent lymphocytes are 51.4%. Okay. Their cutoff range with the Cyrex panel is 40%. But if you look at like LabCorp and other CBCs, they're at a 50% is still normal. So this hasn't changed. When I looked at this result and I compared it to your past lab test, there wasn't any big shift or change. You're kind of always hovering around 50%.
Good elevation. So you are beginning to say, I'm sorry, interrupted you, that this means the immune system is fighting something?
I don't think so.
But this also that we have TH1 to TH2.
Yeah, but severe. If you look at that, it's just 0.3 levels out of range. The range is 1 to 5.0. Like let me tell you, like when people have an infection, like when people have a pathogen, their actual lymphocyte numbers, their lymphocytes go up, their T cells go up, their helper cells go down. I'm sorry, helper cells go up, suppressor cells go down. The CD4-CD8 ratio is your best marker for actual infection. That's like a pattern you see, but you have like a 50% lymphocytes, which most labs would consider within the normal range for a long time. Your TH1, TH2 helper cell, that's just 0.3 off the lab range. That's not everyone's going to be perfect for the bell curve. And your percent natural killers are only 0.8% up. So I wouldn't look at this and say, oh my gosh, you have an infection. I think you're just kind of a little bit outside the norms and range, but nothing where we would be like really worried about, oh, we got to start seeking for pathogens or things like that. It just looks like things are really bad if you just look at the red. But if you really look at the past history of your numbers and you see no real change, like helper suppressors and those, like your T helper cells are they're within the normal reference range. Your cytotoxic T cells are within normal reference range. They're kind of like right even in the middle. It's not like these are like borderline high or low. I don't really see much concern with this panel.
So would you say that this test excludes sinusitis?
I don't think so.
It does exclude it?
Well, sinusitis can sometimes be very localized to the tissue. You don't always get a systemic shift in blood cells unless it's very severe. So if you have a subtle sinusitis, you don't really necessarily see a big change with this.
So it makes sense for me to see an ear, nose.
Yeah, wouldn't hurt. It wouldn't hurt.
Okay.
Yeah.
And let me ask you, once we are looking at this, I'm afraid of COVID and I'm staying in.
Oh, you don't have to be worried.
So will this test tell me that I would do fine with COVID? So
this test could only measure your T cells, your natural killer cells, okay? And you have no signs of deficiency. And it looks like you have a very robust immune percentages and total numbers.
It would be able to deal with COVID, right?
Right. But, like some people genetically are very sensitive to that virus with perfect immune panels. There's other variables than just this. But if you saw this panel by itself, this panel would be like, oh, you're fine. Like your immune system is pretty robust. It doesn't seem like it's compromised in any way. Now, when you bring in a specific pathogen, some pathogens based on like certain gene types of the person who gets infected can have different outcomes. There's some research on that, very specific to COVID. Those are pretty rare. But it's not so like as far as this panel is going, you don't have any increased risk. As other variables we're not accounting for any pathogen, some people will be more reactive, more vulnerable, have more reactions than other people, right? So I wouldn't worry if I were you based on this panel. Okay. Let's see what else here. Okay, your lipid panels a little bit high.
Yeah, and I would like to understand that too. So, am I done with healing leaky gut, or do I still need to work on it?
You have to work on a lot of things. We haven't even gotten to treatment yet. We're just trying to get your blood pressure down.
Yeah, except that we did this test and it showed.
Oh yeah, you do have a little bit of leaky gut. Yeah, the Sarx one, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah, it shows equivocal, and it was equivocal last time that I did.
Yeah, it's better than last time, correct?
See, I didn't compare the number, but most time it was the first test was positive. Then there was equivocal, and Dr. Lam told me at that time, okay, you're done with leaky gut.
You might be because your numbers could still be going down, and this is just 1.68. It's still within the normal reference range of 2 standard deviations, just slightly above 1 standard deviation. So I wouldn't see this and be too concerned.
Okay, so I shouldn't concentrate on that. We'll
yeah. If you were out of range before and now you're going to equivocal, then that's not the main concern.
And at that point, I did blood-brain barrier, and it was okay.
Perfect. Okay, and then the other one was just your adrenal profile. Obviously, increased stress response here in the morning. I think the rest of it looks pretty good. You have a good cortisol awakening response. You have a good circadian rhythm. Like those are the really important things. So it's not.
That's the first of this kind. Let me also ask you here. I kind of got a supplement to help me with sleep, and it contains phosphatidylserine.
Right.
And what I know about it is that it lowers cortisol, and this is not something I need. So would you say it has L-theanine, ashwagandha, and boswellia or something like that? Is that okay for me to be taking that supplement to see whether it can help me with insomnia, or is phosphatidylserine a concern?
So phosphatidylserine is really something that's not going to, none of these things like shut down cortisol production. They just support the neuroendocrine immune system, and they may have a modulating effect. So you don't have to worry about like shutting anything down. Now, a lot of times when you see a pattern like this, like a perfect rhythm, and just spike high in the morning, that usually happens because the blood sugar levels drop at night. Mm-hmm. So, are you waking up shaky, lightheaded, no appetite? Are you okay? Do you wake up in the middle of the night at all?
Excuse me?
Do you wake up in the middle of the night?
I do, except I don't think it is related to blood sugar.
Okay, so you can absolutely try those supplements because with you, and your history and your vulnerability to various supplements and nutraceuticals, there's always going to be trial and error. Any of the supplements you listed, ashwagandha, phosphatidylserine, different adaptogens, if you want to try them, that's great. I don't think it's going to cause any harm, and it may help you. Okay, but I would really encourage you to think about your blood sugar levels at the middle of the night. What time do you eat dinner?
Well, I eat about 6 o'clock, no later than 6.
What time is bed?
10:30, 10:40.
Okay, and what time do you wake up?
About 5.
About 5. Okay.
With good night.
That's like 13 hours. Wait, that's 12. That's 17 hours. Is that right? So you eat it. Yeah, that's too long. Okay. Can you eat something small before bed?
Yeah, except I thought it was not a good idea.
We're just experimenting right now.
Okay.
So
And you're talking some protein,
yeah,
right?
protein. Something like 10 to 20 milligrams of 10 to 20 grams of protein. Like beef jerky, or just experiment, because this could really also help you get your stress response down throughout the day, you know.
Okay, and we are checking whether would be able to sleep longer with that.
Yeah,
Not wake up
sleep through the night without waking up. Okay, because this pattern here really reflects when your blood sugar levels drop in the middle of the night, your morning cortisol spikes up. And then as soon as your morning cortisol spikes up, your feedback loop immediately gets you back to normal.
I would actually not mind repeating this test. This is very unusual for me.
Okay, now unrelated to this test, we still want you to try some protein.
Yeah, I will.
If you can sleep through the night. Okay. Yeah, you can repeat this test whenever you like. Just let Susan know and she can help you organize the test for you. Okay.
Yeah, time is up, and I want to let you go. And I have more questions that I will keep asking you next.
Okay. But let me finish with what I want to do.
Okay.
I didn't get a chance to talk yet.
All right.
What I want to do with you is I want you to experiment with lots of different antioxidants. Do you know any antioxidants you can take, like green tea, pomegranate? Are you able to take any of those?
I am. Actually, that was something I wanted to ask you too.
Okay.
And the cell defense,
Okay.
and it contains lots of pomegranate, melon, and sweet orange peel.
Perfect.
Except I cannot take it because it is a big capsule like this. I cannot swallow it, and I cannot. Usually, I crush like the oils. I crush, but this is so nasty tasting that even I cannot take it.
Okay.
Do you know about anything else of that kind that I can swallow?
I don't. So here's the thing. I just need you to find as much spectrum of different antioxidants you can tolerate, and then take. Okay. So if you can, in the next week, try to let me know. Like if you can get some green tea, if you can, I don't know what you can tolerate, but green tea, pomegranate, some grapefruit extract, grapeseed extract, whatever. Just a diverse form of antioxidants that you can tolerate. And once you can tolerate them, that's the first step. Then we might want to really increase the dose. The main focus right now to bring down neuroinflammation and to also bring down your blood vessel inflammation, they're going to be the same approach. You really have to use a high amount of antioxidants to calm that inflammatory response. Okay. So as you continue to keep your blood pressure where it is, maybe that peptide is helping you in some ways. That's great too. Do some sinus irrigation, get those allergens out of your system, and then just really try to experiment with a different diverse form of antioxidants as you can. There's going to be a need for you to be on a high dose, diverse antioxidant protocol for many months to come, to bring down the neuroinflammation and help your blood vessels start to really heal. Okay. And then you really have to be very, very conscious of things that stress you out emotionally and raise your blood pressure, because that alone could promote another signature attack, and we don't want that. But I think you're on your way. I think you're going to get stable, continue improvements. If you do get a signature attack out of the blue, something happens, that's okay. You're still on the right track. Don't lose all hope or anything, because you're going for a period of time and it's all there. Okay, so when do you think would be a good time to talk? You want to talk in 1 month or 2 months, or what's better for you?
Well, I know that you are going to have that.
Yeah, actually, it'd be 1 month or 3 months. What would you prefer?
Well, I don't know. What do you say?
I would prefer to talk to you in 1 month, before I'm out for that month. And then in the next month, really try to focus on getting all the different antioxidants in there, do the sinus irrigation, and then we kind of go from there.
Okay, let me ask you, because we did this Cyrix test, and I was wondering whether I should do that Alzheimer's test, because you started saying today.
Oh, the Alzheimer's links test, you mean?
When we did this Cyrix for
grade 2, yeah,
lymphocyte map, the blood sample is still there, and we were talking about this neurological autoimmunity, and I looked up that Alzheimer's test, and it actually can confirm that I have that neurological autoimmunity.
Yeah, you've had past antibodies to, to neurological proteins on your past test. I think it's a neurofilament. Wait, what was it? I have it in your summary report, but you did have some past neurological autoantibodies.
Aquaporins, I think, and
Yeah,
tau.
we have to get there. We're still trying to get your blood vessel inflammation down and trying to get your brain inflammation down. There's a whole autoimmune part of this we have to kind of work into. So like we just got to go in layers. Like the immediate thing was to get your injury to your blood vessels down. That was from hypertension. And now we got to patch up those and heal your blood vessels quickly and aggressively with lots of antioxidants. And then we have to then push into the autoimmunity. Yeah, you had myelin basic protein antibodies and aquaporin 4 antibodies. Those were the ones you had in the past. So we'll get there. Okay, so we'll connect a month. Really try to find some diverse form of antioxidants. Get the sinus irrigation system to at least reduce your allergen load, and we will then follow up with you then and start to continue to work through it. Okay.
Sounds good.
Take care.
Thank you very much.
Bye.